What's going on? What's happening? Good evening, good evening. This is Introvert Boricua. I'm doing an impromptu stream. I'm doing this very late, I know. Most likely, for the most part, people are gonna be catching this on the playback. That's perfectly fine. This is a quick subject that I wanted to get into, that I have been meaning to touch on. So we're not gonna be. I'm not gonna be into this too long. So I'm gonna be dealing with this, and then I'll be signing off. Now, the 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 whole thing is about what I wanted to specifically talk about is what is called. Let's see if I can share this to make sure that this is seen. I will be referring to this. Quick definition of this will be gatekeeping, when someone takes it upon themselves to decide who does or does not have access or rights to a community or identity. We are living in a time where at certain times that do that precisely, that they take it upon themselves to trying to decide for others who gets to be what, to be who or what. Now I do understand, and I do understand that at least here in the United States, there is an effort to try to define that, because it might be directed, it may be directly related to allocation of resources, or the perception or the expectation of allocation of resources based on this identity or that identity. Now, I can only speak on what I do know. I do understand that there are issues here in the United States that do relate to race or ethnicity, group, or lineage. Um, but I can only speak on what I know when it comes to the fact that the identity as a Puerto Rican, the Puerto Rican identity, is not really so much dependent on race. And for the most part, I take pride in say for the most part, my people aren't really like that. My people aren't really that concerned on identity based on race, of course. But that's not every single one of us. There are some of us there is a certain faction. There is a certain faction that do try to do the whole gatekeeping thing when it comes to that to identity, and that's something that it does need to be talked about, because even though it is a tiny faction, it is a small group, they can still be very loud. They can still be very loud, and they can be very obnoxious. They can be rather bothersome. They can be rather obnoxious when it comes to that. And they definitely think that they are in the right, and they are trying to gatekeep the Puerto Rican identity based on race. There seems to be certain times that insist that they see themselves as natives. I do understand that there were the natives before there were anybody else. That was true in the Caribbean. That was true in the United States. But the thing is that in the United States there were different groups, and they didn't see eye to eye with each other. Yes, but they were here. They were here, definitely. The same thing can be said about uh, Mexico, Central America, South America. There were native peoples all over in the Western Hemisphere. So that could bring up to question as to who gets to have rights to the land. Again, it might be a little more complicated in the United States because of the reservations and the natives that did survive. Um, but in the Caribbean, it's a little different because there was no such thing as reservations. I mean, at least in the first few decades during the colonization, the Tainos did fight. They did fight. They did fight for the land, and they sacrificed. They sacrificed everything. They sacrificed. They spilled blood for the land. Um, in the first several decades. Later on, things started to change. Unfortunately, um, and then it wasn't so much about fighting the colonizer. Maybe they're just trying to survive, or maybe they were contracting the diseases that were brought from across the pond, and they didn't survive it. So there was that also. Um, Also, when there were instances in which there will be interbreeding eventually. That also was a thing that also happened. Yes, in the first several decades there were wars about that, but it didn't stay like that forever. Eventually there was interbreeding, and the Taino identity started to get more and more diluted. Now, when it comes to that bloodline, yes, it is true, because there have been studies on it, that the bloodline has not been completely eradicated. A lot of us, many of us do carry the Taino blood in us to different degrees, right? Um, hey, what's going on, Rakim? Yes. I mean, anytime you can hit the link. It's on at the top of the chat. Yeah, I saw you. I saw you that you were on Fighter Stream, but there was that certain subject. Even though I am touching on the subject of race, but you were talking about about race in the United States, and I saw how long that stream was, as it usually is. Those this is what I have told you. I have talked to you about. That's why I try to avoid the whole thing about race, because you got endless streams about the subject. Yeah, but the link is on at the top of the chat. You can hit it at any time. Um, and but getting back to what I was saying, yeah, I'm doing this really late, so I'm not even gonna be here that long. But definitely hit the link. Um, but when it comes to the whole thing, when what happened with the Taínos, yes, some of the bloodline is still around in us that come from the Caribbean, and that blood originally those come from South America. So many of my peoples, my fellow Hispanics that are like from Venezuela and maybe Colombia, they might have some of that same bloodline in them. Um, but the thing is that when it comes to us, I can only speak when it comes to us Puerto Ricans, is that to be Puerto Rican, one doesn't necessarily have to have the typical genetic makeup, because there are the whole thing about three different ethnic groups, the main three ethnic groups. This is something that has already been talked about. I don't have to enumerate them. But there may be instances in which you can have somebody who might have been raised on the island, but they wouldn't have the admixture, and maybe they don't have none of the Taino blood in them, but they grew up on the island and they see themselves as Puerto Rican. as Boricua too. They can use the term too, and because they they may or may not have been born on the island, but at least they were raised there, so they do have a connection there from childhood, and that's something that, for the most part, we wouldn't deny somebody who comes from a different place. It's somebody who is who genuinely has a love for the island and has a love for the identity. Then racially what the person is not really gonna matter. They can still be seen as Puerto Rican. And I'm gonna give you the example of what I'm talking about. I'm gonna make sure that I can do the that I can share. And this is fair use, because I know that there are instances one can try to share something, and and maybe there could be some warnings about copyright, because I was looking into older uh, live streams that I have done, and maybe they might have like a partial copyright warning. Maybe I don't get a strike, but there might be kind of like a there might be a partial copyright restriction. Thankfully, I haven't gotten a strike, because I try to use in good faith, fair use. It is the way that I use some material or some video that somebody else has uploaded. So I'm gonna be sharing this. I want to make sure that I can. So, okay. Okay. This is an influencer on social media whose name is Miss Yanji. Now, as you are gonna be able to see, she's Asian. She's Asian, but she was raised on the island, and there was she's responding to comments about her being not being seen as like a real Puerto Rican because she's Asian. Now I'm gonna play the clip of her response, but understand, for those that doesn't speak Spanish, I mean, she says most of her response is gonna be in Spanish, so I'm gonna be I'm gonna be doing a little bit of translated as it plays.
Tú sabes, cada vez que yo veo un comentario así, es cuando yo sé que tú no eres boricua. No, mis papás no son boricua. No, tengo sangre boricua. Yo no.
Now, the part of the response, what she has said is, as you see on the screen, is that that person that made the comment is going on talking about that many Taino has been in agreement that she can't possibly be Boricua because she's Asian. But the thing is that this is part of that faction that I was mentioning. They take it upon themselves to try to police somebody's identity. And she's recognizing that when it comes to bloodline, she doesn't have the typical Puerto Rican bloodline that may include some of the native Taino. She recognizes that she doesn't have it, and neither do her parents, because her parents are from China, so she is 100% Chinese.
Yo nací en China, pero me crié en Puerto Rico desde que tenía menos de un año. Y te voy a decir, 1000%, los boricuas, la gente que vive en Puerto Rico, en la isla, nunca me han dicho eso. En todos los años que yo me crié aquí, a mí los boricuas me aceptaron, me abrieron su hombro, they opened their arms, their homes, su cultura, compartieron conmigo, al igual que yo compartía de mi cultura asiática con ellos. Y estos comentarios así me molesta porque en verdad que borra la esencia de lo que es el boricua, que es ser una persona cariñosa, empática. Y si tú eres boricua de verdad, tú sabes que nosotros estamos aquí para ayudarnos, para apoyarnos uno al otro. Sea, sea el vecino, sea, o sea, el amigo del pana, whoever, nosotros nos apoyamos. Y mano, esto es algo que yo he tenido que lidiar toda mi vida porque en mi corazón, en mi alma, en mi ser, yo me siento boricua, pero también soy china y me identifico como una china boricua.
Now, what she was talking about is that um, when it comes to the comment, specifically to the comment that was sent to her, she was making the distinction that when it comes to the islanders, nobody ever told her that. Nobody who was from the island told her that. So this is somebody who may be a diasporan, and there are certain diasporans that are problematic like this. They want to come and bring some divisive talk about trying to gatekeep identity and just trying to cause divisions because they think that they know better than the rest of us, and they're not understanding that they think that they can bring some racial argument. And because, well, there are diasporans who are born and raised in the United States, and race is very important. Race is very important in the United States. That's something that I had to that was really made very clear to me when I first started living in the States. Let me check. Let me see if I. All right. Okay. And she recognizes that she may not have the typical bloodline, but she was born in China, but she was raised in Puerto Rico since she was a baby. So Puerto Rico is what she really knows.
Y si te molesta, I mean, you don't gotta be here. Me fui de Puerto Rico a los 16 años, fui a Nueva York, hice una vida allá y decidí regresar a Puerto Rico a emprender y a hacer cosas buenas, a cambiar, a hacer un cambio.
She's somebody who, when she was 16 years old, she went to New York and she went to college there. She got educated there and was there for a time working, but eventually she wanted to come back. She wanted to go back to the island. She wanted to go back to the island because she missed it so much. This is something that happens with a lot of like like Puerto Ricans. Nobody who's from the island. We miss the island. We miss the island. We have a whole song about that. En mi viejo San Juan, in my old San Juan. That's a song about nostalgia. That's a song about missing the island. We have a soul. That's like one of the anthems of Puerto Rico in my old San Juan and mi viejo San Juan. That's one of the anthems of Puerto Rico because that's the anthem of the ones that are in exile, like myself. That might be my the song that describes me best.
Y yo no estoy claiming to be China Boricua para hacer nada malicioso, no estoy tratando de, I'm not harming anybody, I'm not hurting anybody. Yo regresé, estoy tratando de emprender un restaurante para crear empleo, crear una generación nueva de líderes de conciencia, he rescatado perros, o sea, he conectado con una comunidad bien bella y bien preciosa. So, esto de no aceptar otra gente por cómo se parece en su apariencia o porque technically I don't have Boricua blood, es algo un poquito ignorante y yo no me crié en Puerto Rico con los boricuas, con esa crianza. Yo me crié con la crianza que me enseñaron de aceptar a todos y que todos somos iguales y que tenemos que apoyarnos, amarnos y ser respetuosos a uno cada uno. No importa el color de tu piel, no importa tu descendencia, todos somos una familia. sea chino, negro, africano, boricua, dominicano, todos somos una familia. O sea que te mando muchas bendiciones y un abrazote, ¿ok?
Okay. Let me go back to what I was at. All right, fair use, fair use. So basically, what she was talking about is that um, she went to the states. She went to the states when she was trying to. She went on and got educated up there. Um, and she eventually wanted to go back to the island because she missed the island so much, and she went back and did some community work, and she got into kind of like rescuing stray puppies, and right now she's been documented through her social media, her establishing her business, because she's building a business in Puerto Rico where she may be able to create jobs for locals, like, and she's very brave to do that, because there is a bureaucracy. There is a bureaucracy uh, for anybody who is entrepreneurial on the island, trying to establish their own business. It's not easy on the island because the process is rather bureaucratic and expensive, and they drag their feet. It's quite inefficient. It's something that needs reform. It could be really helpful for people, so that the government can do reform when it comes to people being able to open new businesses. And this girl is being very brave, trying to open up a new business on the island, which is something that she didn't really have to do, because she already knows people in New York City, and she could have done something in New York City. Hey, what's going on? Hey, RB. Morena, chica, ¿qué es la que hay? ¿Cómo está la cosa? Well, she has mentioned herself that there was kind of like teasing. There was a little bit of there was teasing when she was a kid, growing up, but it's not a like a like a real problem. I mean, so it doesn't compare to what she's dealing with from diasporans. Let's see. I have seen her on the TikTok. Yeah, I came across her by pure chance because she has a significant presence. Look, Cuban Chinese, but is crazy. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm sure. Yeah, but she has the very street accent. Like, she hangs out and she's been to reggaeton parties. She kind of that's kind of how she talks. I don't talk like that. I definitely don't talk like that. I mean, my accent is very clear. People recognize where I'm from with my accent, but it's not that street. Her accent is actually more street than than mine. Now, uh, we're gonna be looking. We're gonna be looking at the responses, because that is we're gonna be looking at the comment section a little bit. Now, something that I can say that I'm actually proud of my peoples is that, as you can see in the comment section, it's mostly positive. You are Boricua, no explanation needed. You're certified Puerto Rican queen, Boricua, you are one of us. It's not where you're from, it's where you're at. Yes, your body gorgeous. Don't pay attention to the haters. True Boricua is all about the culture you embrace. You see, this is generally how we think. This is how we think. We don't care. We don't care about the racial thing. And you're gonna have to translate. Okay, yeah, whatever. Learn Spanish. Don't feel bad. I wasn't born in Puerto Rico, but my parents are. I've heard that people telling me I'm not Puerto Rican. You have it in your soul. Your Puerto Rican accent is raping. Yeah. You're Boricua. We love you no matter what. Don't worry. No, don't worry about what people think or say. What really matters is that you feel and you speak the language. Dale Boricua. Boricua for sure. We love everyone and help everyone no matter the race. Yeah, for the most part. For the most part. Boricua true and true. Nice, yes. But as you can see, vast majority of the comments are positive because she is being embraced. She is being accepted. Puerto Ricans, you don't have to explain yourself. You're more Boricua than most. People are just ignorant. It's true. It's ignorance. These comments usually come from no sabo Puerto Ricans who live in M1C and probably went to Puerto Rico like 2 times in their lives. Maybe never. Maybe they have never been there, but they are trying to gatekeep the identity, which is something that is like, get out of here with that. El Boricua, no explanation neither. Beautiful Rican accent. I love it. New Yorican here, and we love you. You're voting in our. Yeah, this is New Yorican who is also being. She's having her mentality right. I should say. Your love from New Yorican from Aguarilla. I'm Puerto Rico. I'm Puerto Rican, and all I have to say is you go, sister. Positive comments. Now this is the one that this is the one of the ignorant ones. Yeah, I'm putting her on blast. This is somebody who is talking about that I'm a Taino, trying to the whole gatekeeping thing. From the Borican, she was trying to kind of having a reply, and basically because she's not indigenous. Now this is the whole thing about making it about race, because somebody could claim maybe they have done maybe they have done a DNA test and might have shown something, a certain percentage of the Taino bloodline, and because of that, then they think that they have more right to claiming to be Boricua than others. And the thing is that there are no pure Tainos anymore. You will be hard pressed, because that's the big difference with the United States. I mean, as messed up as it was for the natives, at the very least, they were able to get reservations where they were able to kind of like preserve what was left. They were able to salvage something. Now the way that have been set up the reservations, that's a whole nother story, because of how they're deprived of resources, isolated, and some of the people end up having to deal with issues of substance abuse, alcoholism. That's a different story, a different subject. But the thing is that they might have been able to salvage some of their land. I can understand that from the point of view of people that are in the States, that are indigenous, like real indigenous that do survive, that still exist there and do survive. But the thing is that on the islands in the Caribbean, that wasn't a thing. There are no reservations from what I understand. Pure Taino, that's not really a thing. You're going to be hard pressed to find them. I mean, maybe the people that have more of a Taino blood to these days, these people are usually very elderly. They're not going to be living much longer. They're not going to be reproducing either. So I'm seeing these self-appointed gatekeepers, and the thing is that they're not from the island. That's not from the. They're not from the island. These gatekeepers, they're not from the island. I know what it is. I practice my indigenous culture. I'm Boricua. You can say you're Puerto Rican, but you're not part of our indigenous community. You see, this is the whole thing, trying to divide by race, and this is a diaspora, and that's something that I'm not. Look, that's not cool because nobody says on the island that only a few can claim to be Boricua, but others can't claim to be Boricua. No, no, no. Everybody on the island is Boricua. All of us. The whole thing is not predetermined because of race. We just don't look at it like that. Okay. I mean, and you can't. This person won't be able to go to the island and go to somebody who might look more European like and tell them you ain't Boricua because you're European. I mean, you're gonna get cussed out so quick. Or the same thing to the Afro descendants. So because are they gonna come at the Afro descendants the same way? They can't claim to be Boricua because they're Afro descendants. Because the Afro descendants are there. They are still on the island, and they are the Afro Boricua. You could say that they are Afro Boricua. Are they gonna be denied of their identity too? Because they're not Taínos? And the thing is that on the island, that whole thing has been combined. Because if you go to a place, you go to a place where they're dancing bomba, which is a very African type of dance. This is something that has been happening for hundreds of years on the island. I mean, which is the irony because we Latinos were supposed to be so anti-black and we're denying our African ancestry. But in Puerto Rico, we have been doing kind of like African influence dance for hundreds of years. That's the irony because the African cultural heritage in Puerto Rico has been preserved, has been well preserved for hundreds of years. So these people that are Afro descendants, they won't be able to claim Boricua because they're Afro descendants. They're Afro Boricuas. They call themselves that, but they're Boricuas too. They're Puerto Rican. So the gatekeepers, they don't make a lot of sense. Thankfully, there are a bit of a minority. There are a very small minority. They are loud. They are bothersome. They are quite obnoxious. But that's something that needs to be taken note of and be ready to identify them and kind of like let them know, look, that mentality that you're trying to bring to us, that's not cool. Because on the island we don't claim somebody to be real Boricua because they might have a little bit more of the Taino blood. I mean, it's been somewhat diluted. It's not completely eradicated. A lot of us do have it. Yes, we do. Yes, we do. But nobody's pure Taino. So it's not ones have more right to be in Boricua than others. We don't do that. We don't do that. We're just Puerto Ricans, all of those. All of us. Now, this is another gatekeeper. Boricua's an indigenous identity. You're misrepresenting yourself. You're not indigenous to Puerto Rico. You see, this is another gatekeeping, another instance of gatekeeping based on race. That's really what this is. Okay. Okay, let me check it on the comments. What's going on, Daniel? Okay. Okay. Yeah. I mean, it's weird. It's weird. Somebody from our group that might try to divide us based on race, but understand that when you find somebody who claims to be Puerto Rican or Boricua and they're doing racial talk, they're usually diasporans. They're usually diasporans from the Northeast. We need to make that very clear. Islanders, we don't go around doing that. Now, it's not impossible that somebody might have some racial reservations or some things, but that usually gets shut down really quick because our society, doesn't tolerate it. We know that's wrong. Okay, that's the Indians kryptonite. Oh, the fire water. Okay, I don't understand that. Be right back. I never heard Boricuas being anti-black. Some Cubans, Mexicans, yes. No, but that's the thing. That's the thing. I mean, because when it comes to the African heritage, we actually preserve that. I'm gonna be I'm gonna see if I can find a couple of video clips that show a little bit of that. That's another part of what it is to be Puerto Rican. You see, we're still here. Maybe we're still here, referring to the Taínos. But again, these are uh, this is diaspora. This is a diaspora mentality. And you can see in the same thread. Yeah, you can see, Yanji, que se vayan para vienen para el carajo. Los que hablan así. Para nosotros tú eres borincana, aunque naciera en la luna. Quote de Roy Brown. Te amamos. Because that's the thing. There is a saying that I'll be Puerto Rican even if I had been born on the moon. So it's like, okay, the love is there. Is not so much about having been born with the proper admixture, bloodline, and things. Because something that we do, this is something that might be good for another episode, is that we culturally we adopt people that are from other parts of the world. We do that. Let me see what we got here. Like, for example, there was a folk singer on the island. His name was Tony Croato. This is somebody who was from Italy originally, but when he was younger, he moved to Puerto Rico, and his life he was it was like he was born again, and he became like a folk singer in Puerto Rico and lived the rest of his life in Puerto Rico, and he was embraced and accepted as Puerto Rican, and he always honored the island, and he was always singing songs about love for the island. So he lived as a Puerto Rican, died as a Puerto Rican, and he's remembered amongst us. Another one that could be that we culturally adopted from somewhere else was somebody called Joaquin Montserrat. He was somebody who was a host of a children's television show, well beloved. The character that he played was Pacheco, the show con Pacheco. Anybody who is of a certain age, Gen X Puerto Rican from the island, knows who I'm talking about. He was the host of a children's show with cartoons, the old school Saturday night shows. They would show cartoons, but this man was from Spain originally, and he did business in Puerto Rico, and he died in in Puerto Rico. He died as a Puerto Rican, and he's legendary for us because of the positive. These people did positive things for the island. Another example could be somebody like singer Luis Enrique. Luis Enrique is from Nicaragua, and he moved to Puerto Rico, and again he restarted his life. He found his career in Puerto Rico, and he had a song called San Juan Sin Ti, meaning that means San Juan without you. And he was very much invested in Puerto Rico, and he's seen as kind of like Puerto Rican, like an adopted Puerto Rican. And he made songs about the island, and he always honored the island, showed love, and that's basically what ends up requiring. We don't go about race like that. One last example that I can think of would be actor Julian Hill. A lot of people think that Julian Hill is Puerto Rican. No, he's actually from Argentina, but he's been living in Puerto Rico, working in Puerto Rico as an actor for a long time, and he represents Puerto Rico, and he has established kind of like a business in Florida where he painted the whole building with the Puerto Rican flag, showing love and representing. You see, so he's being adopted too. He's being an adopted Puerto Rican. So it's not even about where they were from. It's how much they honor and they have respect for the island, and they may have benefited from being in Puerto Rico and all, but they show love. They have shown love. They have shown respect, and in the end, if it's sincere, as long as it is sincere, then that's what matters. So, like another example, another example of somebody who clearly is not originally from the island. Let me show you another guy. I'm trying to work with TikTok here. I'm not very good at it. I'm trying to find. Okay, I'm gonna be sharing another. Yes. Okay, what you got? Shaking my head. I never heard about it was being in town life. So, okay. I thought I had already highlighted this one. Okay. This is um another profile of another influencer. Now, if you look at her, you look like she's like 100% Asian. But if I were to click on a video, let me see if I can get the audio. Carajo. She does the Spanglish thing.
Ok, mami me acaba de ver con este collar puesto y me dice, Keishla, ¿por qué tú estás poniéndote este collar es de vieja? Y yo, ¿qué? Obvio, no me lo dijo en español, me lo dijo en chino. Así que te voy a recrear la escena, porque siempre la gente me dice, así mismo te lo digo en español, así. Y yo, no, me lo dijo en chino, pero te lo tengo que traducir para que si te lo digo en chino no lo van a entender.
She does the Spanglish. Well, actually, she's trilingual, apparently, obviously. Uh, she has the heavy, the thick Puerto Rican accent because this girl actually was born on the island. So she has all of that, but she goes into what her moms told her.
Anyway, so te voy a recrear la escena aquí. Pues yo dije, adiós mami, nos fuimos, ok, bye, bye. Y ella dice, Keishla, 你嚟啩？你嚟啩？ Y yo, y dice, 你帶過年會？你跟帶過啲好年㗎？ 你连埋拉婆，但係咁連人帶拉婆你連嘅咗，¿qué? ¿Cómo que la pua? La pua, lien la pua. No mami, real trendy 啊，你就是 trendy 咩意思嘛？No trendy， 你知道吗？你知道 trendy 什么意思吗？mami， y yo que a la moda， tú sabes, a la moda, you know, no mu flow 啊，mami， y se fue, y yo, excuse me, ella, okay, y yo me bichó después que me tiró ese comentario de que estoy wearing collares de vieja, she left. Y ahora yo con el pensamiento, do I really look like a viejita? No, I don't. I look like a very trendy person. Anyways. Okay, my...
Now, this is a this is a video that she released a while back, and it went viral because I would have been terrified too if I were to find this out.
This Latino boy I'm talking to was like, oh my God, I'm glad you're Asian because all the Latino are so toxic. ¿Y quién te dijo a ti que yo no era latina, papito? ¿Ah? ¿Quién te dijo eso? Ay, bendito.
Yeah, this was one that went viral a couple of years back, and this was a little bit scary. And there was another one in which she was talking about people questioning her also. I think it's this one.
Ok, este comentario que está aquí, no sé cómo dirigirme, de verdad, no sé cómo dirigirme a este tipo de comentario. Es verdad, no soy puertorriqueña de sangre y pues no me consideras puertorriqueña pues porque no soy de sangre, pero yo nací aquí en Puerto Rico, me crié aquí en Puerto Rico, como puedes ver. Y pues nada, respeto tu opinión, aunque sea una mierda de opinión. Mira, estoy chavando. Didi, si estás viendo esto, ey. Pero nada, el punto es que... Pero, y déjame aclararte algo, no cualquiera puede copiar o actuar como un puertorriqueño, mamá. Déjame decirte eso. Just saying, like, period. Nadie puede copiar el acento boricua si no es boricua. Mala mía, no sé cómo decírtelo, pero hablar un español como un boricua, actuar como un boricua. Excuse me, sir, no one can do that except un real Puerto Rican. And that's on what? On period. That's on period. Oh, sorry, Taylor. You don't speak Spanish, right? Okay, este comentario.
Okay. No, but on that one, you could see that the comment was made possibly by one of those diasporans with no identity. They don't have a picture up. So nobody knows who they really are, but they have a lot to say. So that's what you see. That's what I'm talking about. I mean, okay, I haven't seen this comment. Because I love him. Of course, yes. You damn right we are. And I love him people, and they embrace everyone. In my experience, maybe in Florida, I heard they different. In Florida, what part of Florida is that? Because if it is in Central Florida, a lot of people from Central Florida are islanders. So they're very much like somebody like myself or other islanders. It's not like the Northeast where you have like a couple of generations of Puerto Ricans, so the mentality is not exactly the same. But when it comes to Puerto Ricans in Florida, the Floridian, the Floricans, they are a lot like the islanders. So I'm sure that they will be people that embrace other, I see you, Morena. I was just responding to the comment that is on screen, and in Florida, Floricans are a lot like islanders. So I don't see I don't think there is much of a difference. Well, I mean, New Yorkers, we have to be understanding. As you know, you being from New York, you know that the New Yorkers, they have been there for like a couple of generations. So the, there are differences, and maybe when it comes to the mentality, they do come from a mentality that has where identity is important, and they make identity about race, like I was saying before. And when I was showing the comments, which is something that you can go back to and look, most of the comments from the first Chinese girl, the Chinese girl, most of the comments were positive, but there were a couple of them that apparently were from diasporans that wanted to gatekeep based on race. That they were claiming the Taino heritage, which a lot of us do have, and wanted to divide, wanted to say that because she's Chinese, she can't say that she's Puerto Rican because she doesn't have the bloodline. And I was showing. Let me see if I can show another example, because I saw very quick. There is another one. This is a couple of other Chinese Puerto Rican girls. Let me show real screen.
Keishla, lee esto. Que dice ahí, ¿dónde se pueden conocer asiáticos en Puerto Rico no sean Bacardi? Dile, Amy.
En Viejo San Juan. En La Perla. Te veo en La Perla. Te veo en La Perla.
Y en Bayamón, obvio. Como que unas chinitas de Bayamón. Oye, yo no soy de Bayamón, ¿tú eres de Bayamón?
No, yo soy de Ponce.
¡Coqui! Ponce foto donde me pensé. ¡Ay, mala mía!
Okay, I don't know. In Cuba, they make the distinction with the Jamaicans and Haitian Cubans. I understand that there are many Haitians that migrated to Cuba, but I didn't know about Jamaicans. I didn't know about that. I will figure that Jamaicans wouldn't want to go to a place where there is the regime, the current situation. Jamaicans will rather try to get to the States or to Europe. In TikTok, there was an argument about Rita Marlin saying she's Cuban, but Rita Marlin's parents are from Jamaica. That's a new one to me, and I have done some reading about Bob Marley. I read the biography, and I have read other materials about Bob Marley, and not one time I ever read anything about her being Rita Marley being Cuban. That's a new one. I mean, I'm not saying that is like impossible, but I just don't find it. I just find it very unlikely. Okay. After slavery, Jamaican, Haitian, Chinese migrated to Cuba. Okay. I mean, not necessarily, not impossible. It's just that I've never read anything like that. She was born in Cuba, but her parents are Jamaican. Okay. Because you can find Cuban descendants in Panama. There was a migration of Jamaicans to Panama around the time when they were building the canal. I have read a little bit about that, and that's why you find not just from Jamaica, but from other parts of the Caribbean, from English-speaking Caribbeans that migrated to Panama. That's why you find Afro-descendant Panamanians in the capital that have English names. They don't have Spanish names; they have English names. But there is a whole community. I've been told that that's more on the capital, where you find Panamanian Afro-descendants. Mostly on the eastern side of the island. Okay. All right. Yeah. Okay. I did pin the link to the panel at the top of the chat. So anybody that wanted to click on the link is welcome. I'm just gonna be here for a couple of more minutes. They speak Spanish with a West Indian accent in Panama. Yeah. I have a friend still in Mississippi that you will think that she was Jamaican herself, but she's actually from Panama, Afro-descendant, very dark skin Panamanian. Because it is a thing. And I remember meeting her mom, but her mom will only speak English. So I don't know what part of the Caribbean is she from. Mm-hmm. Can barely talk. I have been sick for the past 2 weeks. I have a dry cough. It's irritating your throat. But have you gotten yourself checked out? That doesn't seem like just seasonal allergies. I mean, there might be something else. Never paid attention until YouTube. What you haven't paid attention to? Oh, you had the flu. Oh man. Well, definitely you have to take supplements, medicine, whatever it is. We're not spring chickens anymore. We do have to take care of ourselves. That's also what I'm trying to do. I mean, I've been trying to trim down a little bit because I did let myself go. So I never paid attention to other people migrating to other islands. Yeah. Yeah, I was having a talk with my sister about that because I mean, because she's a healthcare professional, so she kind of goes on and tells me, "Look, you have to take care of yourself, this and that." It's because of family history. Because I could be feeling, I feel fine, but at any time my heart might stop because of family history. It happens, and then that's it. That's it for me. Yeah. Yeah. Speaking of migrating to other islands, when it comes to the situation in IT, the last thing that I heard was that there was gonna be like a Kenyan contingency that was gonna be brought there to restore order. I don't know whatever happened with that. It's just hard to understand what will Kenya will go there. You have sleep apnea? I thought that I was having sleep apnea a few months back because I was feeling like if I will start to fall asleep, I will stop breathing. And a few times it happened that I will have to wake myself up and start breathing again. For a little time, I was dealing with that. It was fucking scary because I thought that I needed to get some sleep. I was feeling so tired, but I couldn't sleep because for whatever reason I was having I was feeling like if I will start to fall asleep, then I will stop breathing, and then I will have to choke. I will feel like I was choking, and I will have to wake myself up and start breathing again because I couldn't do it while I sleep. But it may have something to do with being a little bit overweight. I haven't had that problem for a while because I am kind of like watching more what I eat, and that has been beneficial. But I do think that I had symptoms of sleep apnea. I think I did, but it hasn't been like that lately. Yeah, because there was there was a time when I was having a bit of my throat was a little bit irritated, so that already makes it a little more difficult to breathe. And adenoids, yeah. Yeah, because for a while, I mean, at the beginning of the year, for some time, I was like, uh, I was dealing with bronchitis. At least the symptoms. It was never diagnosed, but I was dealing with the same symptoms as bronchitis. Once I get those symptoms, it takes me a long time to heal for that, to heal from that. Used to snore so loud. Oh, okay. No, I still have mine. Man, your son being a kid is snoring loud. Yeah. That could be dangerous. Yes. Okay. Okay. Did you go to ENT to get them checked? My son did an overnight trial to test his sleeping. No, I haven't done any of that. My stepdad did. I think he did have to do that because he was having trouble with the whole sleep apnea, and he had to wear a mask that actually kind of like helped him breathe. Ear, nose, and throat doctor. Yeah, that's an otorhinolaryngologist. Yeah, it's a big word. Otorhinolaryngologist. They're the ones that check out for that. Yeah. Oh, your boss was dealing with that too. A severe sleep apnea. He wasn't fat. No. My stepdad, he wasn't really fat. I mean, he did like to drink, but he wasn't really fat like that, and he was having um, difficulty. But he also had kind of like a nervous system issue, well, because of stress, because he have something wrong with his nerves, where he all of a sudden one of his hands would start shaking and he couldn't control it. He had that type of thing. He had to be under treatment for some time. Yeah, when I was telling him about my son, my boss suggested we see an ENT. Oh, I see. Well, lately I haven't been dealing with difficulty breathing while asleep, thankfully, because that was actually scaring me. I will be feeling tired all the time, but I couldn't sleep because I will feel like I was gonna die right there, right then and there. It was really scary. Yeah, okay. So, Morena, have you done live streams lately? I haven't seen anything from you. Have you done live streams? I don't think you have. I haven't seen you. Okay. I can understand. I can understand wanting to stay away from the drama. I get it. But still, maybe you could do a hangout sometime. Okay, after the new year. Yep. Yeah. Yep. Totally understand. I'm somebody who likes peace and quiet. As you should. As you should. That's the thing. That's the thing because you're more you're more grown. You're more grown than certain types that do look for drama BS. That's entertaining for them. So that's what they look for, and they sure as hell can find it. Speaking of the whole Taino thing, I did find because there are it seems that there are groups in Puerto Rico that are actually making an effort in preserving um, what remains of that part of our culture. Let me see. I don't know where does it start and where does it end, but yeah, that's also part of being Puerto Rican. Just like this is also part of being Puerto Rican.
Ay, búscame a Dolores para bailar. Ay, búscame a Dolores, la quiero ver. Dile que está encendido el bate. Dolores, Dolores, la quiero ver. Ay, Dolores. Ay, Dolores. Dile que está encendido el bate. Que mueva muy bien los pies. Ay, Dolores. Ay, Dolores.
Yeah, that's part of being us too. All right. All right. Right. Yeah. And the thing is that for those that say that us we're trying to hide that and we forget about that, even during slavery, that was being preserved on the island. We're so anti-black, but we were preserving that during slavery for the last, what, 200-300 years? While black Americans didn't know who they were because that was completely stripped away from them, at least on the islands, because they will disguise as something that had to do with Catholicism, as you know, with the Orishas and what ended up will later on become Santeria. Those things were preserved. They will just rename things. Eh? And that didn't go nowhere, as you saw. But we're supposed to be so anti-African heritage. It shows that they didn't. That's usually certain types of Black Americans, I will say. They're the ones that will say that we're so anti-Black, and but another irony, because they were stripped from their identity was completely stripped away from them. They didn't know who they were until Arturo Alfonso Schomburg came along. Eh? A Puerto Rican made it possible for them to know who they were. Ha! The irony. The irony. No, I know what you mean, because when I was doing some of the responses with Yanji, and I said that they were bringing kind of like racial talking points, Black American racial talking points. I was called anti-Black. I was not being anti-Black. It's just that the talking points that certain diasporans want to bring to us is kind of like what you hear Black Americans talking about when it comes to trying to whitewash or something about eugenics. I mean, we don't talk about those things. Okay, yeah, but Arturo crazy and that library thing. I've never been there. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, my dude, Rakim, he was supposed to hit the link. He was supposed to join me on the panel. I think he fell asleep because he spent all those hours, as you know, with Fighter arguing about race. It's exhausting. It is exhausting. So yeah. I don't know if Puerto Rico there is still the museum, because I remember that in Puerto Rico there was actually a museum on the that had to do with the slavery, with slavery on the island. I understand that there was if there is or there was an actual museum. Yeah. This guy, dude, most likely he fell asleep, because he did posted on the comments and he said that he was about to hit the link, that he was gonna come up, but yeah, he's out. He passed out. Yeah, but Moreno, you could have hit the link too. All right. But it's getting past my bedtime, so I'm gonna be wrapping up. Okay, let me see what you got. We didn't need museums. It's in the culture, and it's considered like in Cuba, part of the Cuban culture. Yeah. You said that you're feeling well. Yeah. Right. Okay. Well, I appreciate you staying up on the chat at least. Okay, viejito. Bueno. You know that it's almost 1 a.m. Buenas noches, chica. Hasta la próxima. That's my bedtime too, Irby. Yeah. I'm gonna be wrapping up. So next time I'm gonna try not to start a live stream so late. But still, you guys that were on the chat, posting and sharing and all, appreciate it. I'm gonna be looking forward to another live stream, something earlier, so I can get you guys to join. And until the next one, have a good one. Appreciate you being part of the chat. Have a good one. Have a good night. Until next time. Peace.